KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Making news this hour, SAPD says a man is on the run after shooting a neighbor in the chest. Details just ahead.
The televised January 6th committee's investigation into the Capitol attack begins. I'm ABC's Faith Abube in Washington. The latest in their investigation coming up.
And a look outside with live cam. 77 degrees outside, another humid and sticky morning. Justin has your forecast coming up.
And a good morning to you. It is Friday. It is June 10th and vacation season commences. Steph is out today. Mike is out today. Tiffany Huertas is here. Hi, good to see you.
Good morning. I'm so excited to be here with you.
I'm glad you're here. And you and I have some catching up to do between stuff, so
Yes.
We'll talk coming up here. But it's like I said, great to have you here. Justin Horn, right across the way here. We're checking with our neighbor to the right. Good morning.
Good morning to you guys. Small victories. Yesterday, we did not hit 100 degrees.
And you could tell. At least I think you could
tell the difference. Yeah, it was at 99.
I couldn't tell, honestly. It was hot.
Well, I can tell you this. As we get into the weekend, it's going to get a lot hotter. We've got some dangerous heat potentially headed our way with some heat indices mixed in there, too. Let's take a look at the highs yesterday. We got up to 99, as I mentioned, here in San Antonio. No record set across the state of Texas. So the heat subsided just a little bit yesterday as that heat high moved west. But this weekend, it's going to shift right back over us, and these temperatures are going to jump up above 100 yet again. At this hour, 78 degrees, not a big cool down this morning. 74 Kerrville, 77 in Uvalde, and we've got temperatures in the mid-70s, mid to upper 70s here across Bexar County. 78 Canyon Lake, 78 right now in New Braunfels. Some morning overcast there, but it won't last very long. Here's the important stuff. Heat advisory in effect. This is going to start a little bit later today. The high temperatures will be anywhere from 100 to 105, but the heat index could go as high as 108 in a few of these spots where you see these counties outlined in orange. If you're not within the heat advisory, it's still going to be dangerously hot. So just keep that in mind, especially as we head through the weekend. And as far as temperatures go today, noontime, we're in the low 90s. By this afternoon, we're up around 102. Question is, when will this heat subside? It does a little bit next week, and maybe we're able to put a small rain chance in the forecast. We'll talk about it coming up here in just a few minutes, guys.
Thank you very much, Justin. The House Select Committee investigating the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol held its first primetime hearing overnight.
The committee chair is calling the attack a culmination of an attempted coup by former President Donald Trump and his allies. ABC's Faith Abube has highlights from the historic hearing.
For nearly 2 hours in prime time, the bipartisan House Select Committee investigating the January 6 Capitol attack used dramatic video and witness testimony, placing former President Trump at the center of a violent and failed conspiracy.
Donald Trump, the President of the United States, spurred a mob of domestic enemies of the Constitution to march down the Capitol and subvert American democracy.
The panel describing the January 6 riot as a culmination of a brazen attempt at a coup.
Donald Trump oversaw and coordinated a sophisticated 7-part plan to overturn the presidential election.
Describing how a month after Trump lost the November 2020 election, his former national security advisor Michael Flynn, advisor Rudy Giuliani, and attorney Sidney Powell met at the White House over how to use the military to seize voting machines. Even though testimony by those in Trump's inner circle, including daughter Ivanka Trump, then Attorney General Bill Barr, and campaign advisor Jason Miller, made clear Trump was told he lost the election.
The idea of saying the election was stolen and putting out this stuff, which I told the president was
The January 6 panel accusing Trump of energizing far-right groups like the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers, along with thousands of his supporters to storm the U.S. Capitol. Capitol Police Officer Caroline Edwards, seen on this newly released video, knocked out by rioters, testifying that it was a war scene.
I couldn't believe my eyes. I was slipping in people's blood. It was carnage. It was chaos.
And aware of the rioters' chance to hang Mike Pence, the president responded with this sentiment, quote, "Maybe our supporters have the right idea."
And committee chair Benny Thompson says there's evidence linking Trump's inner circle to extremist groups whose leaders have been charged in the riot. Trump and Republicans are slamming the hearings, calling it a political attack. The next one is scheduled for Monday at 10 a.m. In Washington, Faith Abube, ABC News.
Here at home, one man is in critical condition at an area hospital. Another is on the run from police after a shooting on the southwest side. This all happened just before 8 last night off Gwendolyn near Old Pearsall Road. San Antonio police say a 40-year-old man went to a neighbor's home where he was shot in the chest during an argument by a 20-year-old man. SAPD says the suspect was last seen in a white Honda. Police are talking with at least 5 witnesses. Officers do believe the suspect is still armed. This is an ongoing investigation.
Uvalde School Police Chief Pete Arredondo is breaking his silence, revealing more about why it took officers so long to enter Robb Elementary School as 19 children and 2 teachers were killed. Response comes after the chief was heavily criticized and accused of ordering officers not to breach the classroom. Arredondo revealing more about the struggle to open the door as children were calling 911 asking for help and explaining why he didn't have his police radio with him. We'll have all those details coming up in a new report in our 5 o'clock half hour.
In your morning headlines, the Health and Human Services Secretary welcomed the arrival of 110,000 pounds of infant formula in Dallas late yesterday. The massive Nestle infant nutrition delivery is part of an Operation Fly Formula flight that originated in Germany. It's enough for 1.6 million 8-ounce bottles of baby formula. This is the 3rd Operation Fly Formula flight to land in the U.S., with additional flights scheduled in the coming days. The Biden administration is scrambling to address a nationwide shortage.
In Pennsylvania, firefighters had to rescue 2 people from a chocolate tank at an M&M factory. Sounds like a scene out of a children's movie. One of the people was injured seriously enough to be taken to a hospital by helicopter yesterday. The other also needed medical attention but was transported to the hospital by ambulance. It's not clear how they fell into the tank. Rescuers were not able to pull them out from the top and had to cut a hole in the side to get them out. The facility is located in Lancaster County, not far from Hershey, which is well known for its chocolate factory. 437, about 77 degrees.
A tough ending for Texas softball and a big opportunity for the Reagan Rattlers tonight. Those stories are next.
That's right, the big state game tonight. All right, let's check TransGuide right now, and then we'll look outside with live cam. Right now, you're looking at 90 and Zarzamora, and there are quite a few cars on the roads depending on where you are at right now. There's I-10 at Probant, and traffic looks great.
It looks awesome. And outside also, just prepare yourself. It's going to be sticky again. It's going to be a little bit warm again, but don't let that cancel all your weekend plans. Justin has your full forecast coming up.
In morning sports, most of the Golden State Warriors did not practice yesterday, instead using the time for rest and recovery. They lost Game 3 of the NBA Finals and trailed the Celtics 2-1. Steph Curry got hurt late in the 4th quarter when Al Horford rolled into his left leg while diving for a loose ball. Meanwhile, Wednesday, the first NBA Finals game in Boston since 2010, so the crowd of more than 19,000 at TD Garden was pumped up for that Celtics win. Game 4 is tonight at 8 o'clock. You can watch it live right here on KSAT 12. Texas had to beat Oklahoma in Game 2 of the Women's College World Series to keep their season alive yesterday. Top of the 5th, Kinsey Hansen from OU hits a 3-run homer to put the Sooners on top 6-2. OU keeps going, wins 10-5 for their 2nd straight national championship. San Antonio well represented at state out at Reagan High School. The Rattlers baseball team got a sweet send-off yesterday before jumping on a bus headed to Round Rock. So they'll face Rockwall Heath at the Class 6A state semifinals tonight.
This moment right here is surreal. Everyone here sending us off to Round Rock is awesome. We just have that fight factor, we like to say. We really don't care who we're playing. We're going to play with the same emotions, the same intensity, like a dogfight. So we're going to war, and it's always a war, and we play like it always is.
Reagan and Rockwall Heath plays at 7 o'clock tonight up at Dell Diamond. Spurs great Tony Parker lending his private collection of life-size statues to the San Antonio Museum of Art. It's called Tony Parker's Heroes and Villains, and it features more than 40 pieces and runs today through September 5th. He's got Iron Man, Wonder Woman, and Batman, to name a few. So is Tony more of a DC or a Marvel guy?
I'm more a Marvel guy, that's for sure. My favorite is Iron Man. That's my favorite character. My favorite statue here is the big Hulkbuster because of the story behind it, because it took 10 of us to carry everything and to assemble it.
Tony says he hopes people will enjoy his collection. San Antonio Missions will wear Uvalde High School baseball jerseys Thursday, June 16th, to be auctioned off, with proceeds going to the Robb School Memorial Fund. The jersey design is a replica of the ones worn by Uvalde Coyotes high school baseball team. Fans in attendance at Wolf Stadium on June 16th will be able to bid on the game-worn jerseys during the game itself. The auction ends 15 minutes after the final out. And that's a look at morning sports.
Time now, 4:42, 77 degrees outside.
2 weeks away from when some popular baby sleep products will be banned from stores. We'll tell you about what you need to stop using.
And next, details on a remarkable discovery in a Houston area cold case. The missing baby of a couple found murdered in a wooded area near Houston in 1981 has been found alive. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has the details in today's GMA First Look.
In this morning's GMA First Look, baby Holly found.
We just had no idea. We had nightmares, almost every night, wondering, what happened to Holly.
It's a question Debbie and Donna Casasanta have been asking themselves for decades. This morning, after 40 years of searching, they can finally rest a bit easier with the answer.
And they called us and found Holly. That night, I was able to go to bed.
Her parents, Dean and Tina Claus, were found strangled and beaten to death in 1981 in a wooded area near Houston. But they weren't positively identified until 2021. And baby Holly's whereabouts were also a mystery until now. Investigators finding Holly this week in Oklahoma, telling her the truth about her biological parents. And coming up at 7 a.m., we'll have much more on this remarkable discovery and how authorities solved this decades-old cold case. With your GMA First Look, I'm Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
New law takes effect in 2 weeks that bans some popular products you may be using that helps your baby go to sleep.
12 on your side's Marilyn Moritz takes a closer look.
I'm grateful to our lawmakers for helping us protect babies when the manufacturers won't.
Sarah Thompson's 15-week-old son Alexander died 11 years ago while in a Fisher-Price Rock and Play sleeper. This popular product was sold for a decade before it was recalled after investigations revealed at least 32 deaths tied to the Rock and Play and other infant incline sleepers. The design, specifically their incline, makes them inherently dangerous for infant sleep. Now, the new Safe Sleep for Babies Act officially bans incline sleepers and crib bumper pads. Combined, they have been linked to nearly 200 reported deaths.
This legislation is an absolutely critical step to help parents and caregivers keep their babies out of unsafe sleep environments. People should be able to trust that if infant sleep products are for sale, they're safe.
But the ban still does not cover some products marketed for sleep, but that do not conform to pediatricians' recommendations, like infant hammocks and in-bed sleepers. Consumer Reports urges parents only use products covered by federal standards, such as cribs, play yards, and bassinets. And no stuffed animals or soft bedding. These can be suffocation hazards for an infant because they're just not strong enough to roll back over when they can't breathe. The American Academy of Pediatrics says babies should be placed on their backs on a firm, flat surface for safe sleep. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
Let's check TransGuide right now, see how things are looking out there at 4:48. Some people getting a jump start on their Friday morning or maybe heading home from the overnight shift. No collisions to report right now. We'll keep you updated as we approach the top of the hour.
It looks good. I'm excited. It's Friday.
It is Friday, the 10th, and we know it's going to be probably a record-breaking weekend around here in South Texas, Justin.
Yeah, we're expecting temperatures to get even warmer if that's possible. Yesterday, we saw a little bit of a decline in the temperature because we had some clouds that held on for just at least a little bit during the morning time, and that brought temperatures down some. It's kind of a weird situation here. We're excited about 99, but that's where we are now, the way this late spring has been shaping up. 100 in Hondo yesterday, 100 Eagle Pass, Carrizo Springs got up to 100 Pleasanton, one of the hot spots. Pleasanton and Cotulla, 103 and 104. As we go outside for you right now, clouds trying to build in our typical morning overcast. 78 degrees at the airport. Dew point is at 72. Feels like 80 at the moment with south-southeasterly winds at 6 miles per hour. Generally 70s around the area. You will find a few 80s as you get out towards Del Rio and Carrizo Springs. And locally here, some mid-70s for Port SA. Still warm in Castroville, 79 reported there. Dew points in low 70s, so it's sticky. It's sticky, and the dew points, yes, they will come down some this afternoon, probably into the low 60s, maybe upper 50s, but it's this range, lunchtime to about 3 p.m., that you really kind of have to be concerned about a heat index, because with dew points in the 60s and those hot temperatures, it feels so much worse outside. Heat advisories have been posted 1 p.m. through 7 p.m. today. This includes the I-35 corridor. Yes, it does not include folks out west, but even so, you got to be careful. No matter where you live here across South Texas, the heat is going to be a problem. And if you were curious, a heat advisory posted because we are expecting temperatures 100 to 105, heat index as high as 108, and that includes here in San Antonio. Let's look at the heat index forecast here. Today, we're forecasting a temperature of 102, but it may feel like 104. That heat index goes as high as 107 tomorrow, potentially 108 on Sunday. More humidity next week keeps the heat index in the 100s, but this is kind of the danger zone here. This is where we need to be careful today through about Monday, I'd say, where you have to really limit your time outside. Cloud cover, there is some this morning, especially as you go west of San Antonio. There's some storms up across parts of North Texas and Oklahoma, severe weather. They continue to see rounds of rain up there. We are just missing out because of our heat high that is continuing to stick around. Where does it go from here? Well, it does sit over Texas this weekend. That keeps those hot temperatures in place, and then it starts to shift east. That opens the door a little bit for some deeper moisture. Could we see a few showers by midweek? Possible. Don't expect a lot of rain out of this. This is going to be those very quick moving light showers that may come off the Gulf of Mexico. Won't help us with our drought situation, but it is possible by midweek next week. 76 this morning, 88 by 11 o'clock, and then by this afternoon, we're right there in the low 100s again. 101. I think we top out at 102 later today. 104 Saturday, 104 Sunday, close to some records. 101 Monday, and then we'll go below that 100-degree mark Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, guys.
Yeah, I was out running errands yesterday. My son said, Dad, is it me or is it not quite as hot today? And I was like, it's still plenty hot, but it didn't seem quite as searing out there.
The clouds just helped a little bit. It gave us a little bit of shade from time to time. Mm-hmm. We won't see that over the weekend.
What is it you or Mike say? Small victories, right?
Small victories.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Just stay hydrated.
Yes, yes.
All right.
Be prepared.
Yes, indeed. 452, 77 degrees on your Friday morning.
Up next, Buzz Lightyear is blasting off again. Plus, Jeff Goldblum talks about Jurassic World Dominion.
5 till 5, actor Jeff Goldblum talks about his role in Jurassic World Dominion, and Buzz Lightyear is back.
For the latest on what's happening in Hollywood, here's ABC's Jason Nathanson.
The doomsday clock might be about out of time.
In Jurassic World Dominion, Jeff Goldblum returns as chaos theory expert Dr. Ian Malcolm in the movie where dinosaurs are now roaming freely, living alongside people. And Goldblum tells me that's not a world in which he would want to live.
It was a mistake, especially for the purpose of selling tickets to a park or something like that. And there's so many more things, from what I gather, that one might do with genetic tools. Than resurrecting dinosaurs.
Jurassic World Dominion is out today and expected to dominate the box office this weekend.
Why don't they answer?
Then next week, Buzz Lightyear's back on the big screen. Lightyear had its world premiere in Hollywood this week, with star Chris Evans talking about taking over the voice of the iconic character originated by Tim Allen in the Toy Story movies.
You know, you're a little nervous at first because, you know, you got big shoes to fill. I don't know Tim. I've never met him. I just said we share a birthday, which feels a little kismet.
Lightyear debuts next weekend, only in theaters. Actress Rebel Wilson coming out during Pride Month, posting on Instagram a picture of her and her girlfriend, writing, quote, "I thought I was searching for a Disney prince, but maybe what I really needed all this time was a Disney princess." And happy birthday to Grammy-winning singer Faith Evans. She's 49 today, while actress and model Kate Upton is 30. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. I'm Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Los Angeles.
456, 77 degrees outside.
Still ahead on GMSA, Uvalde School District Police Chief revealing more about the school shooting. His children were calling 911 for help. He's also explaining why he didn't have his police radio with him.
And why you soon won't need an Xbox to try out the latest Xbox games. That's still ahead in Tech Bites.
And checking TransGuide right now, we are seeing, a pretty active construction zone, it looks like right there, 90 at Montgomery. I see some flashing lights down there too. All that looks completely closed off, and there's a car to prove me wrong. But Stephen Cavazos is here to talk more about what's happening out there coming up.
Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Making headlines this morning, Uvalde School Police Chief Pete Arredondo is giving new details on decisions made during the school shooting that left 19 students and 2 teachers killed.
Outside with live cam, down to 77 degrees. That's not much of a drop in the overnight temperatures. Clouds that look like they're trying to move back in, and they really helped us out yesterday. We'll talk to Justin in just a moment. Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, and that would be June 10th.
Thanks for waking up with us and starting with a little cafecito, a tea. You know, we're very excited this morning. It's Friday.
It is Friday. We're ready to get the weekend going. We know it's coming temperature-wise, Justin, but break it to us gently.
I'll try. I don't know if I can. This heat has been so intense and very consistent. With the exception of yesterday, we did stay below 100 degrees. We only got up to 99. But we're going to be right back up above that mark, the century mark again today. 77 degrees right now, 75 Kerrville, 75 in Rock Springs, still in the 80s in Del Rio. No relief there, and look at these numbers. Today, 102, 104 Saturday, 104 Sunday. And we do need to mention that with the heat index, that's getting into dangerous territory again this weekend. Be extra careful if you have plans to be outside. I don't want to tell you what to do, but just be safe. Be safe with those kind of temperatures. We mentioned, yes, we're in the 70s in most spots right now, and looking at the heat advisory, it is now back in place. That includes San Antonio, temperatures anywhere from 100 to 105. Heat index could go as high as 108 today, and this heat advisory is going to go from 1 p.m. until 7 p.m. And if you're not in a heat advisory, still take precautions, because no matter where you are in South Texas, this heat is going to be problematic. Our KSAT 12-hour forecast. Yes, some clouds this morning. I don't think they stick around as long as they did yesterday. 92 noontime, 100 at 3 o'clock. We top out at 102 this afternoon. Southerly winds anywhere from 5 to 10 miles per hour. It does get hotter over the weekend. Maybe some relief by the middle part of next week. We have that forecast in just a bit, but we talk traffic now. It's early. Any issues out there, Stephen?
I wouldn't call this a big issue. Good morning, Justin. Let's get a look right now. US 90 at Montgomery. We showed this to you as you went to commercial break. What we're looking at is some overlay work that's been taking place for a little while now. It actually started back on June 5th. According to TxDOT, this should have wrapped up around this hour, but we're a little bit past, just 2 minutes past 5 a.m. So we'll give it some time before we actually see this completely just finish up here. But it is going to take a little while, at least for right now, to clear all this out. So let's go ahead and take you to the map, because that is right there off US 90 coming into San Antonio. But we're not seeing any delays right now. As you can see on our map, just lots of green on the screen. Thankfully, just a lot of those active construction spots, but nothing that is causing any issues with traffic just yet. But we'll have to keep a close eye on that. If you are going to be traveling into the Alamo City from any of these communities, no delays at all. 28 minutes here coming in from 37 northbound, heading in from Pleasanton, 19 on Highway 90 eastbound if you're heading into West Loop 1604. 17 minutes your arrival from Lytle on 35 northbound. So we're not really seeing anything major just yet, but of course this could probably be a headache for some people if they're not prepared. We'll watch it closely and hopefully have a better update in the next few minutes. Mark, Tiff.
Thank you, Stephen. New this morning, San Antonio police say a man is dead following a stabbing outside a Northwest Side sports bar. It happened around 2 a.m. in the 6800 block of North 1604 near La Cantera Parkway. SAPD says 2 men had just left the sports bar when they were attacked in the parking lot. Police say one of the men was knocked out but eventually woke up to find the other victim on the ground with a stab wound. We'll have more on this story coming up in a live report at 5:30.
As we continue to cover the tragedy in Uvalde, we're taking time to remember the victims. Funeral services will be held today for Eva Morales, one of the teachers gunned down. Eva was known to love CrossFit, singing, karaoke, and planning family gatherings. Her friends say she would light up the room just from her smile and her personality.
Today, visitation services will be held for Alexandria Rubio. Family and friends say Lexi was athletic and compassionate, and she wanted to attend St. Mary's University to play softball and attend law school. Her funeral is set for tomorrow.
Well, as the debate on guns continues, local officials are looking way to stop an increase in gun violence here.
The district attorney Joe Gonzalez held a press conference with possible solutions that he hopes will help get guns off the streets. Our Jonathan Cotto joins us live. Good morning, Jonathan. What were some of the major takeaways?
Good morning, Tiffany. Well, one of his major takeaways was prosecuting people for possessing switches, which are devices that turn a typical handgun into illegal machine guns. But there were a lot of ideas that he and the DA's advisory community panel discussed. It's important to note that panel has been operating since October of 2021. Now, District Attorney Joe Gonzalez explained, for the breaking of guns, after a prosecution, they will try and come to an agreement to destroy the gun in question. If they can't, the DA's office will then file a petition with the judge to try and destroy it in an effort to lower the number of guns on the streets. For prosecuting cases of possession of the switches, the DA is encouraging law enforcement to charge people with possession of the device so his office can then prosecute them for that offense, saying those people could be looking at a felony and 10 years in prison. But during his 3 years as DA, he's seen less than 5 of those types of cases, but he believes that's because officers don't frequently cite people for that crime.
What I need to emphasize is we're not here to talk about taking anyone's gun away. We are talking about responsible gun ownership. These people.
Now, he went on to say that he believes in raising the age limit to purchase a gun, red flag laws, and also placing a ban on assault-styled weapons. He's also encouraging community members to reach out to the representatives so that something will change. Reporting live, Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
Jonathan, thank you. The school police chief over in Uvalde is breaking his silence about what took officers so long, or rather why it took so long for them to enter Robb Elementary as 9 children and 2 teachers were killed.
He talks about his struggle to open the door and explains why he didn't have his police radio with him. ABC's Andrew Dimpert has more.
This morning, the Uvalde School District Police Chief is defending the department's response to the school massacre that left 19 children dead. Chief Pete Arredondo telling the Texas Tribune not a single responding officer ever hesitated, even for a moment, to put themselves at risk to save the children. The response coming after the chief was heavily criticized for allegedly ordering officers not to breach the classroom. But Arredondo denies that accusation, saying, "I didn't issue any orders. I called for assistance and asked for an extraction tool to open the door." According to the New York Times, more than a dozen of the 33 children and 3 teachers originally in the 2 classrooms remained alive during the 1 hour and 17 minutes from when the shooting began to when officers officially entered. And during that time, students were calling 911, begging for help.
Is there anybody inside of the building at the time? Is advising he is in the room full of victims at this moment.
But Arredondo says he was not aware of the 911 calls because he did not have his radio, saying he left it behind because he wanted his hands free to hold his gun. As for criticism that officers took too long to breach the classroom, one official tells ABC News that Arredondo was overheard saying, "People are going to ask why we're taking so long." But the chief explains during the 77-minute delay, he was looking for a key. The gunman was locked in a classroom with dozens of students, shielded by a reinforced metal door and a steel jamb, which Arredondo says prevented police from entering. He says he called for tactical gear, a sniper, and keys to get inside. But when handed a key ring with dozens of keys, he says none of them opened the door. Arredondo saying, "I was praying one of them was going to open up the door each time I tried a key." Arredondo says he didn't speak out earlier because he didn't want to add to the town's grief. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
508, about 77 degrees.
Up next, an update on several repeat violations found at a Northwest Side restaurant.
We're going behind the kitchen door, but right now, outside with Lycam on your Friday. Thanks for starting your day with us here on KSAT and GMSA. We'll be right back. Exactly 5:12, dead insects in the kitchen and several repeat violations. Bad news for a Northwest Side restaurant.
Tim Gerber dropped by to see how the restaurant is doing now in this week's Behind the Kitchen Door.
When inspectors visited Real Pho, located in the 11,200 block of Petranco, they found all kinds of violations, including 5 repeats. Their refrigerators were running warm, showing a temp of 50 when it should be 41 or lower. They were also missing thermometers. The inspector found dead roaches and flies in the kitchen that needed to be cleaned up. So did a lot of other things, including the insides of all the freezers and refrigerators and the ventilation hood, which hadn't been cleaned since December of last year. It was full of grease and food debris. The restaurant earned a failing score of 69, a big drop from their last inspection in January when they earned an 81.
Hi, I'm Tim with KSAT 12. Yeah.
I stopped by this week to see what happened.
You guys got a pretty low score on this one last time. Have you guys been able to fix the violations that were on there?
Oh, yes, we do. We try to fix it, yeah. I just took over the restaurant, yeah.
Yeah, were you surprised by the score?
Oh, yes.
The owner took me behind the kitchen door to show me they have corrected the violations. Metro Health ordered a re-inspection, but the owner says they haven't returned. Kong's Express, located in the 900 block of Czar Zamora, came in with a score of 74. The inspector saw cooked chicken waiting to be recooked inside a non-working refrigerator. Food containers were dirty with food debris, and the ice machine had mold-like debris inside. The manager on site couldn't properly explain the wash, rinse, and sanitizing process. There were cockroaches spotted stuck to a sticky trap, and the AC vent above the food prep area was dirty with dust buildup. 8 violations were corrected at the time of the inspection, but Kong's still earned a re-inspection. That's what's going on behind the kitchen door this week. I'm Tim Gerber, KSAT 12 News.
Several restaurants also got perfect scores. You did a good job. Take your phone and scan the QR code. It'll take you to our perfect scores database on KSAT.com.
Time now 5:14, 77 degrees.
Up next, Amazon rolls out a virtual way to try on shoes before you buy them. Tiffany Huertas.
Ooh.
This is Liz. She just stepped up to care for her mom, and she has questions. Luckily, Liz has Carewell. It's a one-stop shop for everything your loved one needs. Founded by actual caregivers and staffed by real caregiving specialists, they'll show you all the best brands and products, and they're trained to take your questions, even the embarrassing ones. With Carewell, you got this. Visit carewell.com for 30% off your first auto ship order. Proudly supporting the Alzheimer's Association.
Fireball.
In today's Tech Bites, Facebook parent company Meta is shutting down developments of its smartwatch. For the last 2 years, reports have said Facebook is working on a smartwatch with 2 cameras, but according to Bloomberg, the project is on hold as the company focuses on other wearables. No Xbox, no problem. Microsoft is set to launch the Xbox TV app later this month, allowing users to stream games without a console, but there is a catch. The software only works on the latest model of the Samsung Smart TV. Next, a new way to try on shoes. Amazon just unveiled a feature that lets you try on shoes virtually. It uses augmented reality to show you how the shoes will look from different angles and in different colors. It's the latest in Amazon's line of AR shopping tools designed to make online shopping more interactive. Those are your Tech Bites. Have a great day.
I know what you're thinking. Your husband's like wishing you had never seen that.
Look, I have a really cool relationship with the Amazon delivery because my husband knows that if there's a package, it's probably for me. But there's important things we need to get constantly. But I love this new concept.
Yes.
This concept is interesting.
Okay, gotcha. And Amazon brings you shoes, right?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay, all right.
Well, I pay for them.
Of course. Stephen's here for an update of traffic. 519, good morning.
Yeah, I would say Amazon brings me coffee, which I have today. But, you know, the question is, how will you know if those shoes are comfortable?
Until you try them on at home, right?
Yeah, until
Well, they have this thing that you can actually try before you buy.
Tiffany.
You're not kidding. You're telling the truth.
Telling the truth. But you know what? We want our drivers to make sure that they're prepared this morning. Maybe they're off to go grab a pair of shoes. Who knows what everyone's destination is going to lead them to. But right now, things look fine. But you saw from that TransGuide camera that there was some construction still taking place over on US 90. And that should have wrapped around 5 this morning. We're getting closer to 5:30, so we haven't really seen a lot of progress. But we can see there US 90 at Couples. That's a pretty heavily traveled area. It's a gateway into San Antonio, so we know people will be making their way in from Castroville, perhaps. But showing you the wide look at the map, no direct issues to report just yet, just some of those active construction spots. But be on the lookout if you are traveling along US 90 in far west Bexar County. As I mentioned, mill and overlay work is taking place. It did start at 8 in the evening and again should have wrapped around 5 in the morning, but we are still seeing crews out there. There is an alternating full closure of the frontage road and exit ramps in both directions, not far from Montgomery Road. So if you want to make sure you plan your commute ahead of time, grab your phone and open your camera app. Scan this QR code by tapping the center of your screen. That will take you directly to the KSAT traffic page, and that will have the latest updates on closures taking place in your area. It's not going to take you to Amazon.
No, it's not. Thank you, Steven. Justin has a drought update for us. I thought of you last night as I was hand watering my yard, and I'm talking about it going, come on, we can do this. Hang in there.
No, my grass has given up. I've already got brown spots everywhere, and
Mine too.
It may be a lost cause at this point. You know, something else interesting, guys. I posted on Facebook yesterday about my thermostat because I leave mine on 78 during the day and at night. I turn it down to 76, but there was a lot of reaction because I asked people where they leave their thermostat. I think mine's a little on the high side, but anyway, that's for another day. It was a good discussion on Facebook. If you want to check it out on my Facebook page.
I'm going to do that now.
Steven, no?
I'm going to go creep on your Facebook page right now.
Yes, the drought monitor, though. Here's where we stand. Exceptional drought for much of our area, including Hondo, Bandera, Kerrville, San Antonio, even parts of Bexar County, an exceptional drought. Extreme drought for most of the city, though. Bottom line, we need rain. Yes, all of our lawns are looking pretty brown at this point. It's still once a week watering, by the way. We're still in stage 2 water restrictions. Medina Lake at 16% full, down 60 feet. It's down 12 feet just over the last 3 months. So it's not a good situation out there. And rainfall this year, we are now closing in on 10 inches below average. We've only received about 4.5 inches for the year. That's not going to cut it at all. Del Rio is about 5 inches. Even Austin is now 3 inches below average, and they've received 13 inches for the year. I want to show you some great pictures coming out of Brackettville. This is courtesy of Raul Escamilla. This is Fort Clark Springs, which is usually flowing pretty nicely. He says in his time he doesn't remember it looking like this. You see almost everything is dried up at this point. And this is what we're dealing with across South Texas with this drought that is underway. We need rain so desperately. And Raul, thank you very much for letting us use those photos. Outside, a few clouds trying to move in. 78 degrees at the airport, 77 Stinson, 75 at Kelly, 76 at Randolph. A good southerly breeze out there, but that's keeping temperatures up into the mid to upper 70s. Pretty consistent here. Mother Nature has been very consistent with these temperatures in the upper 70s in the morning and then close to 100 in the afternoon. Now, we will see dew points drop off some, but there will be a heat index still this afternoon, especially in that early afternoon period where the dew point's a little bit higher. For that reason, heat advisories have been posted in those counties shaded in orange there. High temperature anywhere from 100 to 105, heat index up to 108. Again, we're not telling you what to do, but drink a lot of water. Be safe if you're going to be outside, especially this weekend because the heat index only gets worse. Saturday, we're around 104. Heat index will be close to 107, close to 108 on Sunday with that heat index. Very quickly, as we take a tour of Texas here, some severe weather up across parts of northeast Texas. That is moving away from us because of high pressure that still is really controlling our forecast here. And this thing moves over top of us this weekend, and that really cranks up the heat and then moves east by next week. That does allow for some deeper moisture to move in, and there could be a few showers Wednesday afternoon. We're not putting it in the forecast yet. This is just one model. And if we see anything, it's going to be very light and probably a little bit closer to the coast, but something to watch middle part of next week. In the meantime, 78 degrees, 8 o'clock this morning, some clouds early, and then mostly sunny skies late. We top out at 102 this afternoon. Southerly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. There's your pair of 104s over the weekend. Does cool down some next week, but we add humidity, so the heat index is still very much a problem.
Okay, I have another question for you, but we're going to leave it for next half hour. Thank you, Justin. 524, about 77 degrees.
Up next in your morning spotlight, Jurassic Park actress Ariana Richards talks about the franchise.
Jurassic World Dominion ready to dominate movie theaters this weekend, nearly 3 decades after the original Jurassic Park.
CNN's David Daniel has that and more in today's Hollywood Minute.
Velociraptors in the kitchen. The original Jurassic Park started the adventure that continues with Jurassic World Dominion. Ariana Richards escaped the raptors and was happy to reminisce at the Dominion premiere.
I'm just excited to see how it's affected so many people and how it's become beloved by a tremendous amount of people and generations. And for me, I feel a sense of gratitude. Wow, I got to be
commemorating the 50th anniversary of Title IX, the U.S. federal law aimed at leveling the playing field for women.
It serves a reminder to all women to stay focused, motivated, to fight for access and, to really get to the finish line. But again, look behind the finish line, which is what I loved about that lyric.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Time now, 5:28, 77 degrees.
Still ahead on GMSA, we'll get an update on the thousands of pounds of infant formula that has just arrived in North Texas.
And could a mysterious figure captured on camera in the Texas Panhandle have a tie to the San Antonio Spurs? We'll explain coming up.
Making headlines this morning as thousands of pounds of baby formula arrive in Texas. We're learning more about a whistleblower who sounded the alarm about a key formula plant.
And outside with live cam, 77 degrees outside. It's going to be another warm one. Justin has your forecast coming up.
Hey, good morning to you. It's Friday, June 10th.
Thanks for waking up with us. Very exciting morning.
Friday morning. Nice start to the weekend. Glad you're with us. Justin in for Mike, and he has more on what to expect. And not exactly going to be a shocker, is it?
No, it's not. It's not. So we're going to start with the picture instead. We're going to push back the heat for just a second and take a look at this picture sent in by Peggy out of Bernie. That's a green anole lizard. If you've ever seen one of these, there's a lot of them around here, but they have that sort of red-looking thing on their necks. Pretty cool. Anyway, that's a great shot. And fella. Yeah, he is.
He's cozy.
They're out and about right now. Of course, they're dealing with the heat too. All of our animal friends have to deal with this extreme heat. They're looking for water, and they're not finding much because it's been so hot and so dry. High temperatures yesterday. 109 in Phoenix, 108 in Vegas. They were the hottest spots in the country yesterday. Death Valley, that area. Here in Texas, it was still hot, but we didn't get up to 100. 99 was the high in San Antonio. And we'll be right back there again today, if not a little bit hotter. Heat advisories have been posted. Temperatures today within the advisory anywhere from 100 to 105. Heat index as high as 108. That is a danger zone. And heat advisories have been posted today and will likely go all the way through the weekend. We got to be really careful Saturday and Sunday because temperatures will get even hotter. High temperatures today up around 102 here in San Antonio. Places like Canyon Lake, New Braunfels, Seguin, all above 100 this afternoon. Pleasanton could go as high as 104. It was hot there yesterday. We're going to put it on repeat again today. Some changes down the line next week. We've also been tracking that Saharan dust. When does that arrive? Details on that coming up in just a bit. Let's get over to Stephen again on this Friday morning. Hopefully smooth sailing.
People are ready to drive off into the weekend. Justin, thanks. Let's go ahead and get a look at TransGuide I-10 at Probant. Things are moving, as you can see from that shot, without any trouble. 35 at Alamo, maybe a little bit busier, but people are ready to get the weekend started. And you can see there at 1604 at Bandera, they won't really encounter a lot of trouble out there for this Friday morning. But we mentioned that there was some road work taking place out off US 90 in the far west side of Bexar County. Thankfully, that is wrapped up. So some good news for anybody that is traveling in that direction, not far from Montgomery. Great news for those crews who were able to work and do that overlay work out there. And there you can see US 90 at Montgomery, those cars making it by without any trouble now. Just remember to always stay vigilant, stay alert, because there are still other active construction spots out there. Let's take a wide look at the map. No slowdowns, so just remember to be safe out there. No need to rush. And if you're coming into San Antonio from any of these neighboring communities, same situation here. No need to rush because the journey from Bernie right now, a 24-minute drive time on I-10 eastbound. Heading in from Bulverde, we have 27 minutes right now, so there's no need to hurry on 281 southbound, and 25 minutes on I-35 if you're heading in from New Braunfels. I can't think of anything that rhymes from New Braunfels, but we'll find that out a little bit later on. Right back here at TransGuide, things look like they're moving just fine. We'll have more updates on construction coming up in the next few minutes. Mark, Tiffany.
Thank you, Stephen. New this morning, A Northwest Side parking lot has become the scene of a murder. Homicide investigators are investigating the stabbing death of a man. They say he was one of two people attacked there near Loop 1604 and Chase Hill Boulevard. Katrina Weber is at the scene with a live report. Good morning, Katrina. We understand that police believe the victim had just left a bar nearby.
Well, that is right. In fact, I had a chance to talk to some of the workers at the bar, and they acknowledged that both those men who were attacked had been in the bar earlier, but they and police tell me that there was no trouble in the bar. There was no encounter between those men and anyone else as far as they know. And so it appears that this attack may be unrelated to whatever was going on in the bar. Now, they did find the victim, the one who was stabbed, down here in the parking lot, which is quite a ways away from the sports bar. Police tell us that this attack happened a little bit around after 2 o'clock, after closing at the bar. Now, they say that there were two men who were attacked. One of them was knocked unconscious. He told police that he woke up and noticed that his friend was on the ground. That is the man who was stabbed to death, according to police. Now, some of the workers at the bar told me that a bouncer who was taking out the trash did notice the man down on the ground, came over, and then also called for help from some of his coworkers. They were able to perform CPR on the man who was stabbed, but were not able to save him. So right now, this area is roped off as investigators do continue looking into exactly what happened and collecting evidence. And they tell me that they plan to get surveillance video from some of the other businesses here to see if that will provide some clues as to exactly what happened. They say they also plan to look at video from inside the bar to see if they can identify anyone who may have been involved in this. Reporting live on the Northwest Side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Katrina. This morning, from Dallas to Dulles airports, thousands of pounds of desperately needed baby formula has finally arrived.
The delivery was welcomed with cheers from doctors and families. Cargo planes delivered the formula from Europe. CNN's Mike Valerio has the details.
110,000 pounds of baby formula arriving in Dallas, Texas from Germany on Thursday, met with applause. Officials said formula from that shipment will help fill more than 1.5 million bottles for babies across the country.
We're going to have a lot more baby formula available to parents real soon.
Shipments also arriving at Dulles Airport outside of D.C. as well. The White House calls this, quote, Operation Fly Formula, a desperate measure to restock baby formula in stores as the nation grapples with a shortage, leaving many families scrambling to feed their infants.
Access to formula is extremely important to ensure all our babies get the nutrients they need to grow and thrive.
The shortage was compounded when formula maker Abbott Nutrition shut down its Michigan plant in February after reports of bacterial infections in 4 infants. New details are now emerging about an Abbott whistleblower who flagged safety concerns back in February 2021. That's about a year before the current crisis began. Abbott says it didn't know about the complaint until April of this year, and it's been investigating ever since. I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
Many of the biggest names in Washington politics are in Los Angeles today. A congressional delegation descending on the city to close out the Summit of the Americas. More critics have been speaking out about the U.S. decision not to invite leaders from Cuba, Venezuela, or Nicaragua. The Biden administration says it did not want authoritarian leaders at the event. Mexico's president boycotting the summit in protest as a caravan of some 5,000 migrants heads towards the U.S.-Mexico border. Keeping out autocratic leaders does highlight a major goal of the summit, which is to encourage democracy.
The Pentagon has changed its policy on HIV-positive service members. According to a Defense Department memo this week, the new policy says that HIV-positive individuals who are asymptomatic and who have a confirmed undetectable viral load will no longer face restrictions, and they cannot be discharged or separated from military service just because of their HIV status. The change in policy comes after a recent federal court decision that ruled the Defense Department policies were unlawful.
NASA is assembling a team to study unidentified aerial phenomena, better known as UFOs. The agency says it wants to know more about phenomena that can't be identified as aircraft or known natural phenomena. It says it's interested because of national security and air safety, and notes there's no evidence they are alien in nature. Study begins in early fall and is expected to take about 9 months. The team's work will be independent from the work the Defense Department is doing on UAPs.
That's really interesting. I feel like they're going to have some findings there.
Well, I mean, these are the top scientists, right? We'll see what they come up with.
We'll see. Time now, 5:39, 77 degrees.
Speaking of unidentified objects, a mysterious figure captured on camera causing some confusion in the Texas Panhandle. We'll explain.
And next, how severe weather is affecting a popular brand of hot sauce.
Outside with Live Cam joining us on a Friday morning. We appreciate that. Looking back towards beautiful downtown San Antonio. We'll check traffic and weather straight ahead.
Welcome back. In your morning consumer headlines, the Biden administration wants to standardize electric vehicle charging for the network of charging stations it's pledged to fund. Its new proposed rule would require the 500,000 stations it's funding to be interoperable, just like how a gas pump works with any gas vehicle. Currently, the electric vehicle world uses 3 charging standards. Under the proposed rule, the stations would also ban any membership requirements and set a common standard for payment and other technologies. About $5 billion is going to states to build a network along America's highways.
Another day, another product shortage to tell you about. One of the world's largest producers in the Asian hot sauce market is anticipating a major shortage of sriracha. Hui Fong Foods says severe weather conditions affected the quality of its chili peppers and their current inventory does not meet the demand. Company announced it's not accepting new orders for its signature sriracha hot sauce placed before September, and orders already made before Labor Day will have to wait until the fall to be fulfilled.
Oh no, I love sriracha.
This was big news. My son yesterday, it was like the world stopped when he found out there could be a shortage of sriracha sauce.
I guess now he'll learn how to make his own sauce.
He's got other alternatives.
Yes.
He'll be just fine.
Oh no.
5:44 right now, 77 degrees.
Folks in Amarillo are trying to figure out what this mysterious figure is. Maybe you can help. That's coming up next. It's going to be a good day because we have a Jeannie Mo's package.
Oh, we do, right here. Yeah, a surveillance camera image of a mysterious figure has officials up in Amarillo scratching their heads.
They can't figure out what it is, so they're asking the public for help. CNN's Jeannie Mo's reports.
The city of Amarillo, Texas is asking folks to guess, what is this thing? The image was captured last month at 1:25 a.m. by a camera set up inside the Amarillo Zoo, looking out through a perimeter fence. Is it a person with a strange hat who likes to walk at night? City officials asked in a tweet, referring to it as a UAO.
The unidentified Amarillo object.
Wow. Let the guesses begin from Fantastic Mr. Fox.
I don't want to live in a hole anymore.
To Rocket Raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah.
The camera is motion activated and sends an alert to zoo officials when it captures something. There were some serious theories.
A raccoon standing on its hind legs, or potentially a person walking through the park that just happened to get captured in a peculiar way.
But the public's guesses were more colorful, from Sonic the Hedgehog to the San Antonio Spurs coyote mascot. Someone tweeted the movie Dog Soldiers called and want their werewolf back. Another poster wondered, is this guy on the loose? And of course, there were references to Bigfoot, though someone thought Littlefoot might be more appropriate. There is no video, just this image. One poster went all out to illustrate his theory it was a coyote jumping the fence, diagrammed with anatomy like ears, tail, etc. Noted, if nothing else, all these guesses could leave folks howling. Jeannie Mo's, CNN, New York.
I buy the coyote theory.
What's he doing in Amarillo?
Coyotes?
No, the Spurs coyote.
Oh, no, a real coyote.
Oh, okay.
Not a Spurs coyote. Well, they wanted to play some home games away, so.
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible at this point. Steven, what's your theory, my friend?
How come they didn't say the chupacabra? I thought they were waiting for that. I was waiting for that. Out of all those guesses or those theories, I could throw that in there.
My hunch, Jeannie Most didn't know how to pronounce that.
Okay, chupacabra. But I'm waiting for, I'm sure there'll be a Netflix documentary on this phenomenon or this mystery over there. But right now, traffic is not much of a mystery because we have it right here. 1604 at Bandera. Getting a little bit busier out there. There's been some overnight road work taking place out near 410 at Goleta. That's wrapped up. We saw some work also taking place off US 90. That has wrapped up, but that doesn't mean that we're in the clear just yet because you see those construction spots still on the map. And we do know that construction is almost 24/7 in this area. So make sure that you plan your commute ahead of time. Let's talk about what's taking place here off Loop 1604, North Central San Antonio. They'll also be working on the cameras over there. We know that there are over 200 TransGuide cameras in the area, so sometimes these do require maintenance, but this will be a quick one. Saturday, June 11th up until Monday, June 13th, overnight, 9 in the evening to 5 in the morning. What you can expect there is a full eastbound closure there at Loop 1604, where the direct connector connects to northbound over off to US 281. So keep that in mind. That is overnight, and usually these crews work pretty quickly in that area. I used to see them all the time driving down 281, but right now at this time back in town, things look just fine so far. But well, no chupacabras on here, guys, or whatever those things are.
Justin, what do you think it was?
That unidentified Amarillo object.
Something. The coyote jumping is interesting, but it's interesting too that people take, look at that and try to figure it out for so long. But
well, sure, we've watched a lot of CSI over the years, so I'm not surprised that this was dissected in such detail.
It's very curious, though. Very curious. I don't know. One thing we do know is it's going to be hot next week, and we're going to have to mix that with some dust. So heat and then also a little hazy next week. We're watching this plume of dust, which we see a lot of summers coming across the Atlantic, moving into the Caribbean, and then eventually working its way up into Texas. This will be Monday. We're starting to see a little bit of a concentration, but I think it probably gets thicker as we get into Tuesday and probably Wednesday of next week. But it also sticks around even through probably Friday. So we're going to see some of that dust. Doesn't really have a big impact on our forecast other than it gets a little more hazy. Obviously, the sunsets and sunrises are a little more colorful. And then if you have asthma or maybe you're sensitive to it, you may notice it, but just something to watch next week. And speaking of the tropics, the Climate Prediction Center does have moderate confidence of some tropical development down the line. We're talking June 15th through 21st, somewhere in the Caribbean, potentially. There's some models hinting at that. It's far too early to say with any sort of great confidence that it'll be something there, but the waters are plenty warm now. Just something to watch here over the next couple of weeks. Right now, we have a few clouds out there, 78 degrees, dew point is at 72. Southerly winds at about 11 miles per hour. Feels like 80 already. So that morning run, if you're getting out there right now, it's still going to be pretty toasty. 75 New Braunfels, 78 Gonzales, 75 Kerrville. Most places in the 70s at this hour here across Barrett County. 75 right now in Bandera. Dew point is at 71. Dew points are in the 70s just about everywhere. So that thick humidity this morning will start to come down some this afternoon. You'll see some slightly lower dew points, but not enough to prevent us from having a heat index today. That heat index could be as high as 108 with our air temperature anywhere from 100 to 105 underneath this heat advisory, which does include San Antonio. But as I've said earlier, really anywhere in South Texas, we're dealing with some dangerous heat, not only today, but especially through the weekend. We're expecting temperatures to be around 104 Saturday, Sunday. That translates to a heat index somewhere around 107, maybe 108. And that is dangerous if you're going to be outside for any length of time. Storms up across parts of North Texas and Oklahoma are moving away from us, moving towards Arkansas this morning, getting some good rain up there. And our heat high sticks over top of us this weekend, lending itself to those, or allowing for those hot temperatures to develop. And then by next week, that high moves east. We get the flow off the Gulf of Mexico, and there may be just enough moisture there to create a few showers on Wednesday. I'm not going to put it in the forecast yet because this is just one computer model, but it does hit maybe a shower or two. This would not be much, and it's not going to help us with our drought situation, but at least it's something. We'll look for that next week. In the meantime, 76 degrees by 7 o'clock, 78 by 8 a.m. Clouds begin to burn off, and we go mostly sunny by noontime, 92. Your high temperature today, 102. And that feels like temperature again somewhere around 104, 105 by the afternoon. 104 Saturday and Sunday, 101 Monday. Does try to, quote unquote, cool down a little bit next week, but we just add in more humidity, so it's a little bit of a trade-off. Maybe more clouds by Wednesday and Thursday.
And Flag Day coming up.
Flag Day on Tuesday.
Don't forget your scrunchies because it gets hot and my hair, it does not last. The moment I step outside, I just pick it up.
Don't forget your scrunchies.
Don't forget your scrunchies.
Okay. Got mine right over. Duly noted.
Everybody's good. Thank you very much, Tiffany. 5:54, about 77 degrees.
Let's take a look at your lotto numbers. Your pick 3, 7827, Fireball 7. Your daily 4, 8221, Fireball 9.
Cash 5 numbers 1, 7, 9, 12, 19. Texas 2-step 8, 15, 18, 24 with a bonus ball of 18. Ahead in the next hour of GMSA, our Great Grad Series continues this morning with a motivated graduate working towards a career in politics. And still to come, the bipartisan House Select Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol attacks, taking their evidence public during prime time. We'll have more on the dramatic video and witness testimony. And checking TransGuide on your Friday, we are off and running. Your Friday morning commute. We'll check in with Stephen Cavazos coming up right here on GMSA.
The police chief of Uvalde Consolidated ISD breaks his silence and explains his actions. More of what he said is straight ahead.
A virtual town hall held to discuss school safety evaluations. What piece of information officials say is key to keeping students safe.
And a look outside with live cam. 77 degrees outside. Justin has your full forecast and Steven has your traffic coming up.
Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Good morning to you. Happy Friday. It is June 10th. Vacation season has commenced here at KSAT. Tiffany in for Steph, Justin in for Mike. Good to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here with you. We've been having a lot of fun this morning.
It's been a fun morning so far, and it is flying by. Justin is here with more on what will probably be another record-breaking temperature weekend here in South Texas.
Going to be right at that record level both Saturday and Sunday, and the records are 104, 105, so that's not a good thing. We did not set a record yesterday. We did not get to 100. Small victories, as we say. 99 degrees was the high here in San Antonio, so we broke our streak of triple-digit heat. We'll be right back there again today, though, with 100s on the map. No records yesterday, but there will be some records challenged, I think, this weekend. 77 right now at the airport, so we've dropped a degree. 75 Helotes, 73 Boulevardy, 73 Comfort, 75 right now in Bandera. There are some morning clouds trying to work in. Heat advisory will be in effect today, 1 p.m. until 7 p.m. The heat index could go as high as 108 this afternoon, so we've got to be very careful. Those kind of temperatures, it does get dangerously hot, especially during the afternoons. 102. Forecast high. Again, it will feel a little bit warmer than that when you factor in that humidity today. Yesterday evening, Stephen, there was a lot of traffic out there. I got stuck in a couple of traffic jams, but things are much better this morning.
Right. It was, I think, from 410 all the way up to the Rim area where people were seeing such a congestion because of an oil spill, and that did last for a little while. But thankfully, that is cleared out, and you're not going to find anything that will impact your drive time this early in the morning. But people are off, ready to drive off into the weekend. But thankfully, nothing major, as I just mentioned. But as we take you to the map, we know that there are those active construction spots, as I've been bringing you that information. But we do have our first issue to report. It's a stalled vehicle. It's nothing too major, but it's right there in the southbound lanes of I-35, not far from Pine Street. Just be on the lookout, and as a reminder, check your vehicles before you get out on the roadway. Make sure that you're also fully gassed up, because we know while it's vacation season here at KSAT, many of you may be hitting the road for a destination trip this weekend. So again, make sure that you are prepared. But right now, if you are going to be traveling into San Antonio, you are in luck. We are green across the board, but we are seeing about a 32-minute drive time if you're heading in from I-10 westbound coming in from Seguin, but thankfully it's still pretty green. 22 minutes on 87 northbound traveling in from Lavernia, and a 28-minute drive time heading in from Flotusville. So our neighbors don't really have much to worry about in terms of the commute this hour, but we know as people get out there this morning, that could quickly change. We're going to be keeping a close eye on the roadways, but one last look around town. 37 at Carolina. Things are off. People are moving. How quiet will it stay? We'll see coming up in the next few minutes. Guys.
Thank you, Stephen. We are continuing our coverage of the tragedy in Uvalde. This morning, we want to share with you that funeral services will be held today for Eva Mireles, one of the teachers who was gunned down on May 24th. We're told Eva was outgoing. She loved CrossFit, singing karaoke, and planning events for her family. Her friends say she would light up the room just from her smile and personality. Her service is set for 10 o'clock this morning. Also today, visitation services will be held for Alexandra Rubio. Family and friends say Lexi was athletic and compassionate, and she wanted to attend St. Mary's University to play softball and attend law school. Her parents testified before Congress this week. Her funeral is set for tomorrow. New overnight, the school police chief in Uvalde is breaking his silence about what took officers so long to enter Robb Elementary School as 19 children and 2 teachers were killed.
He spoke with the Texas Tribune, revealing his struggle to open the door and explaining why he did not have his police radio with him on scene. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has more.
This morning, the Uvalde School District Police Chief is defending the department's response to the school massacre that left 19 children dead. Chief Pete Arredondo telling the Texas Tribune not a single responding officer ever hesitated, even for a moment, to put themselves at risk to save the children. The response coming after the chief was heavily criticized for allegedly ordering officers not to breach the classroom. But Arredondo denies that accusation, saying, "I didn't issue any orders. I called for assistance and asked for an extraction tool to open the door." According to the New York Times, more than a dozen of the 33 children and 3 teachers originally in the 2 classrooms remained alive during the 1 hour and 17 minutes from when the shooting began to when officers officially entered. And during that time, students were calling 911, begging for help.
Is there anybody inside of the building at the time? It is advising he is in the room full of victims at this moment.
But Arredondo says he was not aware of the 911 calls because he did not have his radio, saying he left it behind because he wanted his hands free to hold his gun. As for criticism that officers took too long to breach the classroom, one official tells ABC News that Arredondo was overheard saying, "People are going to ask why we're taking so long." But the chief explains during the 77-minute delay, he was looking for a key. The gunman was locked in a classroom with dozens of students, shielded by a reinforced metal door and a steel jamb, which Arredondo says prevented police from entering. He says he called for tactical gear, a sniper, and keys to get inside. But when handed a key ring with dozens of keys, he says none of them opened the door. Arredondo saying, "I was praying one of them was going to open up the door each time I tried a key." Arredondo says he didn't speak out earlier because he didn't want to add to the town's grief. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
In the wake of the shooting at Robb Elementary, Governor Greg Abbott directing the Texas School Safety Center to review safety in schools. The TXSSC hosted a virtual school safety town hall. The director of the center says a lot of the time someone knew something might happen beforehand.
In many of these cases, there was an adult, a teacher, a parent, a community member, or even a peer that knew something. But didn't report it.
State Representative Ray Lopez hosted yesterday's virtual town hall. They also discussed how mental health is handled in schools and how different safety measures are implemented in schools around the state of Texas. Well, as people across the country are continuing to debate gun laws, local officials are actively working to find ways to stop growing gun violence problems here at home.
That mission, the reason why Bexar County District Attorney Joe Gonzalez held a press conference touting possible solutions on his side of the law that he hopes will help get guns off the streets. Jonathan Cotto joins us with more on that proposed solution. Jonathan, good morning.
Good morning, Tiffany. Well, there was a lot of major takeaways in that discussion. One of them being prosecuting people in possession of switches, which are devices that can turn a typical handgun into an illegal machine gun. So now let's talk about some of the ideas that the DA discussed with the DA's community advisory panel. In that meeting, I also want to make mention that this panel has been in operation since October of 2021. Now, the District Attorney Joe Gonzalez explained for the breaking of guns, after a prosecution, they will try and come to an agreement to destroy the gun in question. If they can't, the DA's office will then file a petition with the judge to try and destroy it in an effort to lower the number of guns on the streets. For prosecuting cases of possession of a switch or switches, the DA is encouraging law enforcement to charge people with possession of the device so his office can then prosecute them for that offense, saying those people could be looking at a felony and 10 years in prison. But during his 3 years as DA, he's seen less than 5 of those type of cases. But he believes that may be because officers don't frequently cite people for that crime.
And what I need to emphasize is we're not here to talk about taking anyone's gun away. We are talking about responsible gun ownership.
Now, he went on to say he is in favor in increasing the age for those individuals looking to purchase a weapon, also red flag laws, and also urges the community to reach out to the representatives in order to impact some change. Reporting live, Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Jonathan. In top stories this morning, a man is shot in the chest and another man is on the run from police. That shooting happening on the city's southwest side. This all happened just before 8 last night off Gwenda Lee near Old Pearsall Road. San Antonio police say a 40-year-old man went to a neighbor's home where he was shot during an argument by a 20-year-old man. At last check, the victim was in critical condition. SAPD says the suspect was last seen in a white Honda. Police are talking with at least 5 witnesses. Officers believe that suspect is still armed. This is an ongoing investigation.
We have an update to a story we first told you about right here on GMSA Tuesday. A bicyclist hit and killed by a Jeep on Potranco Road has now been identified. Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office saying he's 34-year-old Andrew Eroke. The crash happened outside 1604 on Potranco near Sundance Crest. Sheriff's deputies say the woman driving the Jeep told them she didn't see the cyclist at first, then tried to swerve to avoid him, but ended up hitting him anyway. Officials are calling this crash an accident.
After today, the city of San Antonio will no longer accept applications for its rental, mortgage, and utility assistance. The program helps people with financial hardships during the pandemic, but the hardship does not have to be related to COVID. Those who qualify based on income can receive one-time assistance. Applications can be submitted through the city's website. The application deadline is 11:59 p.m. tonight.
10 minutes after the hour, 76 degrees.
The blazing sun probably has your air conditioner working overtime. Coming up, some tips to help your AC make it through the summer.
Outside with Live Cam. Thanks for starting your weekend with us here on GMSA. We still have to get through the workday, though. A look at your Friday morning commute. Still to come. This week's scorching heat is putting a strain on our HVAC systems.
Air conditioning companies say they've been busy all week and expect this cold peak to continue in the coming weeks. Their number one suggestion is to make sure that you have a reputable company do an annual maintenance check on your system to avoid unexpected troubles. Some things homeowners can do: change the filters every month, close the blinds or curtains in the day to keep the heat out.
Also suggested that you use fans inside the house to keep cool. Close entry doors quickly to keep hot air out, cool air in. Keep this in mind if you have issues and need to call a repair person. Expect to pay more.
Having to get them and the delay of those parts, the prices of systems have increased. Just with regular cost of living year to year, having this last couple of years really affect this year is just kind of a bottleneck at this point.
The price of having your air conditioner repair may be steeper than in years before. Not having air could possibly cost you more in regards to your health and well-being.
Let's check on the Friday morning commute at 6:15. Stephen?
Hey, good morning, Mark. Tiffany, just got an update from TxDOT via Twitter. Westbound on I-10 near Cibolo Creek, they say in Far East Bexar County will remain closed due to some overnight construction, at least up until 8 a.m. So we'll have to look at that on our map and see how that will impact your Friday morning drive. I'll get that information to you a little bit later on. But right now, let's go ahead and take a look at traffic, because you can see no issues to report just yet. Major issues, that is. You did see some flashing lights off of 410 near Ingram. That is due to some stalled vehicle out there. Thankfully, that's really been the only problems that we've been really spotting out there, just some of those stalls. Still have this one that's reported not far off I-35 southbound at Pine Street. So got to make sure that we're checking our vehicles, but also that's important, make sure that you move over, slow down anytime you see those flashing lights or stranded drivers. Quick heads up though, utility work. As we're looking ahead to the weekend, Sunday fun day, it's going to be a busy one for some crews out there, because there will be some utility work starting on Sunday, June 12th, but that will be from 7 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. During that time off I-35 on the central side of San Antonio, we can expect a full closure of the main lanes in both directions, not far from St. Mary's Street. But of course, we have that information on our website at ksat.com/traffic. You can always head over there to find the latest closures that are taking place in your area. Just remember, scroll to the bottom of your page. Guys.
Thank you, Stephen.
Yeah.
And Justin, we need some rain. These lawns are looking
And that she brought a good point. I remember last hour I was like, I have a question, I'm going to wait another half hour. So this time of year, if I recall, one of the benefits of dealing with the heat is that eventually showers make their way in from the coast.
Correct.
But that takes a while for that trend to kind of begin. Or have we started to see that pattern shift yet, to your knowledge?
Not yet. It's probably going to take until next week that we start to see some of that deeper moisture coming off the Gulf of Mexico. We get some of those sea breeze showers. Now, the thing about those is they don't last very long and they don't put down a lot of rain, but at least it would be a little bit of a pattern shift, and I think that occurs next week. So good question, and we'll look at that here in just a second. Boy, do we need the rain. You look at the drought monitor, and it is bad news for much of South Texas. This maroon color you see here represents exceptional drought, the worst it can be. Kerrville, Bandera, Hondo, over to southern parts of San Antonio, Floresville, Carson City, down to Goliad, but much of the area, just in general, is in a drought situation. We always check in on Medina Lake, and it's not good either. 16% full, it's down 60 feet, down some 12 feet just over the last 3 months. Rainfall for the year, we're at 4.58, almost 10 inches below average. Del Rio's about 5 inches below average, and Austin, which had a surplus for a while, is now down 3 inches from its average. They've gotten 13 inches of rain this year. They're doing a lot better than we are here in San Antonio. And just an example here. This is from Fort Clark Springs out of Brackettville. Raul Escamilla sent this in to us, and you can see the situation there. He says he hasn't seen it this low before, and you see the situation there. Everything's just sort of drying up, a sign of the times, and just even a little bit of rain would go a long way. Raul, thank you so much for letting us use those pictures this morning. Oh, speaking of waterways, if you are planning on going floating this today or next couple of days, I suppose it's good weather for that. It's going to be hot. Temperatures will be around 102 today, probably around 104 this weekend. Good way to stay cool, but you got to be careful out there because with the UV index hitting extreme levels during the afternoon, you can sunburn in about 10 minutes. That's all it takes. So you got to have a lot of sunscreen if you're heading out that way to some of the rivers next couple days. As we go outside for you, clouds are starting to fill in. 77 degrees at the airport, 77 Stinson, 76 Kelly, 76 in Randolph. We've got a light southerly breeze at this point, and temperatures are in the 70s just about everywhere, with the exception being Del Rio, which is still at 82 at this hour. Mid-70s for Helotes, 79 Castroville, 75 in Rio Medina, and heat advisories have been posted today. This is going to go 1 p.m. through 7 p.m. in the area shaded in orange. What can you expect? Temperatures anywhere from 100 to 105, heat index up to 108. And you can imagine that this heat advisory will be stretched through the weekend because we're going to see temperatures even hotter than this coming up. I think 104 Saturday, 104 on Sunday. That translates to 107 and 108 heat index respectively. And even through Monday, we'll see a heat index around 105. So this is that point where you got to be really careful if you're going to spend any length of time outside. Severe weather this morning across parts of Oklahoma and Arkansas, but staying well to the north of us as high pressure builds over top of us this weekend, and that's why temperatures will be so warm. Now, Mark mentioned some of those showers coming in from the coast. That's a possibility, I think, as we get into the middle part of next week, as the high pressure scoots east and we get deeper moisture coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. Perhaps a few showers, very light showers on Wednesday. I'm not going to put them in the forecast just yet because this is just one model indicating a few of these coastal showers, but it is something to watch next week. 78 degrees at 8 o'clock, a few clouds this morning, 84 at 10 o'clock. We're at 95 by 1 p.m., 98 by 2 p.m., and then triple digits, a good bet this afternoon. 102, your high here in San Antonio. 104 Saturday, 104 Sunday, and then temperatures do try to cool a little bit, if you will, next week, but we'll add in some cloud cover Wednesday and Thursday and keep our fingers crossed for a stray shower or two then, guys.
All right, thanks, Justin.
Thank you, Justin. 620, about 76 degrees on your Friday morning.
Just ahead, a new Xbox app is allowing gamers to play without a console. The details coming up in Tech Bites.
We hit the bike trails every weekend.
Shingles doesn't care.
I grow all my own vegetables.
Shingles doesn't care.
We've still got the best moves you've ever seen.
Good for you, but Shingles doesn't care. Because 1 in 3 people will get shingles. You need protection. But no matter how healthy you feel, your immune system declines as you age, increasing your risk for getting shingles. So what can protect you? Shingrix protects. You can protect yourself from shingles with a vaccine proven to be over 90% effective. Shingrix is a vaccine used to prevent shingles in adults 50 years and older. Shingrix does not protect everyone and is not for those with severe allergic reactions to its ingredients or to a previous dose. An increased risk of Guillain-Barré syndrome was observed after getting Shingrix. Fainting can also happen. The most common side effects are pain, redness and swelling at the injection site, muscle pain, tiredness, headache, shivering, fever, and upset stomach. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Shingrix. Shingles doesn't care, but you should.
In this morning's GMA First Look, baby Holly found.
We just had no idea. We had nightmares, almost every night, wondering, what happened to Holly.
It's a question Debbie and Donna Casasanta have been asking themselves for decades. This morning, after 40 years of searching, they can finally rest a bit easier with the answer.
And they called us and found Holly. That night, I was able to go to bed.
Her parents, Dean and Tina Claus, were found strangled and beaten to death in 1981 in a wooded area near Houston. But they weren't positively identified until 2021. And baby Holly's whereabouts were also a mystery until now. Investigators finding Holly this week in Oklahoma, telling her the truth about her biological parents. And coming up at 7 a.m., we'll have much more on this remarkable discovery and how authorities solved this decades-old cold case. With your GMA First Look, I'm Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
In today's Tech Bites, Facebook parent company Meta is shutting down development of its smartwatch. For the past 2 years, reports have said Facebook is working on a smartwatch with 2 cameras, but according to Bloomberg, the project is on hold as the company focuses on other wearables.
No Xbox, no problem. Microsoft set to launch the Xbox TV app later this month, allowing users to stream games without a console, but there is a catch. The software only works on the latest model of the Samsung Smart TV.
A new way to try on new shoes. Amazon just unveiled a feature that lets you try on shoes virtually. It uses augmented reality to show you how the shoes will look from different angles and in different colors. It's the latest in Amazon's line of AR shopping tools designed to make online shopping more interactive, and this is what we call ooh.
So for some shoppers, for sure. What will they think of next? Don't know. 626, about 76 degrees.
So to come, COVID vaccines for kids under the age of 5 are expected to be made available as soon as this month. We'll tell you when the White House will roll out the vaccines.
A night out at a bar right off 1604 near UTSA turns deadly. Now police are searching for whoever's responsible. Katrina Weber joins us live with the details.
And a look outside with TransGuide. People are hitting the roads this weekend. It's summertime. And we'll keep track of all of this coming up.
San Antonio police say 2 men who had just stepped away from a good time at a bar ended up in a very bad situation. Good morning, I'm Katrina Weber. One of those men stabbed to death here on the northwest side. I'll have that story.
The televised January 6th committee's investigation into the Capitol attack begins. I'm ABC's Faith Abube in Washington. The latest in their investigation coming up.
And outside with live cam, the morning clouds are back. It's been another steamy morning out there, down to 76 degrees. We'll talk to Justin in just a moment. First up, though, we have breaking news I want to tell you about. On this Friday, June 10th, we're getting reports of an earthquake out in West Texas. In Stanton, Texas, not too far from Odessa, the U.S. Geological Survey reporting a preliminary magnitude of somewhere around 3.2. As Justin joins us now here in the studio, you've been saying they've had a few tremors out there as of late?
Yeah, they've actually had quite a few reports out around Midland, Odessa of some of these minor earthquakes, kind of like what we see here near the Eagle Ford Shell. Whether or not it's related to fracking, that's a whole other issue. But yes, we've been seeing more and more of those out across West Texas.
All right.
Minor.
All right, and so far we've got no reports of any damage or anything like that.
No, I wouldn't imagine 3.2. You probably just feel a little bit of shaking. I want to show you a picture here on our KSAT Connect. Peggy sent this in. This is very common lizard here around South Texas and San Antonio, green anole, and you see them from time to time in the garden. They're great to have around. They love bugs, but that's a cool shot. Peggy, thank you so much for sending that in out of Bernie this morning. Pollen count, mold, low, it's 250, not a big deal. This is the time of year where we don't really have to worry about the pollen count, and as long as we're not seeing rain, which it's not in the forecast, mold is not going to be an issue. Temperatures in the 70s this morning. This is actually the heat index, and we are carrying a heat index in a few spots. Castroville feels like 82. Places like the airport, Feels like 78, and we're only going to see that heat index get worse this afternoon. These are the forecast temperatures, up around 102 today, but it feels more like 103, 104, maybe even 105 in some cases, and it only gets hotter this weekend. Heat advisories have been posted. We're going to talk about that. Also, some of that Saharan dust headed our way. We have an update for you there. That's coming up in just a few minutes. But let's get over to Stephen now, your traffic authority. We have an issue now.
Yes, Justin, right there, 35 at Judson. It's on the service road, so we're not really seeing so much of an impact with traffic on the highway. But 35 at Judson, let's go ahead and bring that camera in, give you a closer look. We do have a fire truck out there, and that is because a possible vehicle fire was reported in the area by San Antonio Fire Department. But you can see there right now, vehicles are getting by without much trouble, but the road flares are set up. We are seeing a closure out there. Anytime you see those flares, that means a few of the lanes are blocked off, and we can see what looks like a firefighter out there as well. Not a lot of information that we can report just yet, but we'll have to watch it closely. Thankfully, not causing a major issue with traffic as we bring you in and show you right there on the map. Right there at I-35 southbound, where it meets 410, is where it's being reported earlier. So we'll have to watch and monitor that situation closely as morning commute does get going. But something else that we told you about a little bit earlier was a closure over here in the far east side of San Antonio and Bexar County. I-10 westbound near Cibolo Creek is closed right now due to some overnight construction. Now, keep in mind, we are already starting to see that delay. I-10 is a heavily traveled route. We know people that may be traveling in from Seguin will encounter this. Right now, KSAT does report this will stay closed up until 8 a.m. Keep in mind, they are working on the bridge over there, so this is going to cause some major delays for anybody trying to make their way into San Antonio. We'll look for some alternative routes, but that commute right now coming in from Seguin still in the green with 32 minutes. Just give yourself some time. Look for those different routes. Keep in mind, closed till 8 in the morning. We'll watch it closely, but also watching the progress here at 35 at Judson. Does look like we are seeing more crews getting out there, but we'll watch it closely and hopefully have a better update a little later on. Mark, Tiffany.
Stephen, thank you. A peaceful night at a Northwest Side bar gave way to deadly violence in the parking lot for one man. Now homicide detectives are trying to figure out who stabbed him and attacked his friend.
This happened just after closing time near Loop 1604 and Chase Hill Boulevard. Katrina Weber is there with a live report. It looks like police have wrapped up their investigation. Katrina, have they made any arrests?
No, they have not made any arrests just yet. Now, police tell us that they don't have a lot to go on at this point, although they did talk to a lot of people at the bar. I had a chance also to talk to some of them, and they say this attack seemed to come out of nowhere. The man who was stabbed was lying on the ground over in a dark section of the parking lot closer to the Loop 1604 access road. According to the manager at D.O. Bar, a bouncer first noticed that man as he took out the trash after 2 this morning. She says that he, along with several other employees from the bar, tried to perform CPR on the man, but he died. The police say that stabbing victim was with another man who also was attacked. That man was knocked unconscious. He told police he woke up later and saw his friend on the ground. Investigators say they have found no evidence that those two men were involved in any sort of trouble inside the bar, and they don't know the reason yet for this attack. The only information they have about the attackers is that there were two of them, two men who took off in a white Dodge pickup. Reporting live on the Northwest Side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Katrina. 6:35, the House Select Committee investigating the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol held its first primetime hearing overnight.
The committee chair calling the attack a culmination of an attempted coup by former President Donald Trump and his allies, accusing them of spreading lies and threatening American democracy as they try to overturn the 2020 presidential election results.
ABC's Faith Abube has highlights from the historic hearing.
For nearly 2 hours in prime time, the bipartisan House Select Committee investigating the January 6 Capitol attack used dramatic video and witness testimony, placing former President Trump at the center of a violent and failed conspiracy.
Donald Trump, the President of the United States, spurred a mob of domestic enemies of the Constitution to march down the Capitol and subvert American democracy.
The panel describing the January 6 riot as a culmination of a brazen attempt at a coup.
Donald Trump oversaw and coordinated a sophisticated 7-part plan
to overturn the presidential election.
Vice Chair Republican Liz Cheney describing how a month after Trump lost the November 2020 election, his former national security advisor Michael Flynn, advisor Rudy Giuliani, and attorney Sidney Powell met at the White House over how to use the military to seize voting machines. Even though testimony by those in Trump's inner circle, including daughter Ivanka Trump, then Attorney General Bill Barr, and campaign advisor Jason Miller, made clear Trump was told he lost the election.
The idea of saying the election was stolen and putting out this stuff, which I told the president was
The January 6 panel accusing Trump of energizing far-right groups like the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers, along with thousands of his supporters to storm the U.S. Capitol. Capitol Police Officer Caroline Edwards, seen on this newly released video, knocked out by rioters, testifying that it was a war scene.
I couldn't believe my eyes. I was slipping in people's blood. It was carnage. It was chaos.
And aware of the rioters' chance to hang Mike Pence, the president responded with this sentiment, quote, "Maybe our supporters have the right idea."
And committee chair Benny Thompson says there's evidence linking Trump's inner circle to extremist groups whose leaders have been charged in the riot. Trump and Republicans are slamming the hearings, calling it a political attack. The next one is scheduled for Monday at 10 a.m. In Washington, Faith Abube, ABC News.
In your morning headlines, 2 teens are facing murder charges in connection to a deadly mass shooting in Philadelphia over the weekend. Police say U.S. Marshals arrested 2 18-year-olds in Richmond, Virginia yesterday. They are accused of taking part in Saturday's shooting on South Street that left 3 people dead and 11 people injured. Prosecutors say both suspects killed someone. One suspect is also accused of shooting a man in the knee. The teens are being held in Virginia as they wait for a hearing concerning extradition.
National Weather Service confirming an EF1 tornado touched down in Ohio yesterday. 90-mile-per-hour winds uprooted trees and tossed sheds in Gloucester Township in the Deer Park subdivision. Residents are in the process of cleaning up, many counting their blessings, saying that damage could have been much worse.
The White House is preparing to roll out COVID-19 vaccines for young children. Beginning next, vaccine advisors from the FDA and the CDC will review data and the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. The agencies are expected to sign off on the vaccines. The first vaccinations for children under 5 could start as soon as the week of June 20th.
NASA assembling a team to study unidentified aerial phenomena better known to all of us as UFOs. The agency said it wants to know more about phenomenon that can't be identified as aircraft or known natural phenomena. It says it's interested because of national security and air safety and notes there's no evidence they are alien in nature so far. The study begins in early fall and is expected to take roughly 9 months. We'll be focusing on identifying available data from the government, civilians, nonprofits, and companies, and how to best collect future data. The team's work will be independent from the work the Defense Department is doing on UAPs. Right now, 6:39, about 76 degrees.
Coming up, we're introducing you to a young lady who's already looking past high school and sees her future in public life serving the community. That's coming up in our latest Great Grads installment. For the past several weeks, we've been sharing with you some of the area's best students from across all of our school districts who have been going above and beyond to succeed academically, professionally, and personally.
Today's Great Grad comes from Medina Valley High School, has already carved a clear path to become an effective and influential leader.
Sierra Krista was born and raised in Castroville and started her education at age 3 along with 6 other students. She would share a classroom for many years to come.
I initially went to school at St. Louis, which is a little private school here in Castroville, and I had a whopping 6 people in my class until I was about 11 years old.
It was at this age Krista's parents decided to put her in public school where she was met with some challenges. She says it was a really big change.
Because I grew up from a class of 6 to now have a class of 20. And my math skills weren't the greatest, my people skills weren't the greatest. And so when I got to high school, I wanted to kind of expand on that.
And expand is exactly what Krista did.
So I joined every single debate thing I could, every organization that would let me in. And so I ended up joining a total of 17 clubs on campus, and from the time I was a freshman to a senior.
Krista has gone to hold a number of leadership roles at Medina High, to include percussion captain, yearbook editor-in-chief, and debate president, where she was recently a policy debate qualifier and a student Congress state finalist. She says yes, it's exhausting.
But at the end of the day, I think of where I want to be. Like right now, my goal is to be a hopeful politician one day. And so my plan right now is, even through college, I plan to keep myself busy. I'm majoring in political science, having a pre-law track, and getting a teaching certification all in 6 years.
Krista has already interned with local leaders such as Representative Tony Gonzalez and will be attending St. Mary's this fall. Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
Time check, 6:45.
Let's head over to Stephen to look at traffic.
Hey, good morning, Mark. Tiffany getting the system booted up right now. Been trying to find some alternative routes. We do know that there are some issues out there in terms of traffic, but let's get a wide look now. I-10 at Callahan. I can't tell what this is. I think that is a stalled vehicle. At least that's what we're seeing on the TxDOT website. It's off on the shoulder lane, and we are not seeing any flashing lights just yet. So we have to make sure, especially during this time, that we move over, slow down. I-10 at Callahan, we know it's a busy spot for those morning commuters, so just watch out in that direction. Start with a wide look at the map, because we are seeing again just a lot of those active construction spots. We do have better news to report. We told you about a crash over here near 35 southbound right there at Judson. You saw it on the TransGuide camera earlier. That has since cleared out. It looked like it was on the access road, so it wasn't causing any issues for drivers on the highway, and that's some good news, because southbound on I-35, another major gateway to the San Antonio area. So again, better news there, but things are not looking good as we drive over here to the far east side of San Antonio. I-10 westbound near Cibolo Creek. We still have that closure due to bridge work that started overnight. Now, TxDOT does anticipate this will wrap around 8 this morning, but keep in mind, anytime you see these green lanes disappear on our map, that means that there is a closure out there and those roads are shut down for now. But we are looking at those alternative routes. Just make sure you do the same. We'll try to find something better for you to commute if you're heading into San Antonio from Seguin. But right now, here off I-10 at Callahan, just keep your eyes open and both hands on the wheel, guys.
It's really hard to figure out what the heck that vehicle is out there.
I couldn't tell. At first it looked like an overturned vehicle, but right now it's just being reported as a stall, so hopefully everybody's okay.
Or it's one of those trike motorcycles or something?
Yeah, I passed it this morning. It's one of those sort of unique cars with the 3 wheels.
Okay.
You saw it on I-10 at Callahan.
So it's a 2-seat car, the open top 2-seat car thing?
I believe so.
Okay, I didn't see it. Gosh, I was driving down there, didn't see it.
Very weird.
So use caution, as Stephen said. We're going to track some dust coming across the Atlantic here in the coming days. We see this a lot during the summer. You see these plumes of dust working their way into the Caribbean, and we think that they'll move into South Texas as we get into some of this dust. We'll move into South Texas as we get into Monday and parts of next week. It may even thicken up a little bit as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So you'll notice some haze in the atmosphere, and this may even last through Friday. At least that's what these models are indicating. Doesn't really do a lot for our forecast. But we will see the haze, some nice sunrises and sunsets. And if you're sensitive to that kind of thing, this is usually in the upper parts of the atmosphere, but it may bug you just a little bit. So heads up, that's what we have to look forward to next week. Hot and hazy. We're also watching the tropics. Now, there's nothing imminent, nothing at all. But the Climate Prediction Center puts out a forecast down the line. And this is June 15th through the 21st. So they have some confidence that there could be some development down the line in this area shaded in red. There's Yucatan there, Gulf of Mexico, parts of the Caribbean. This is nothing to get excited about yet. Just means we need to watch it over the next couple of weeks. The tropics are perhaps trying to heat up a little bit. We'll let you know where that goes. But speaking of the tropics, if you're heading down to the coast this weekend, it will be hot. No surprise. Temperatures will be in the 90s. The bays will be a little choppy, seas anywhere from 3 to 5 feet. And that water temperature is closing in on 90 degrees. So it's warm. It's a good weekend for the beach. And right now, as we go outside for you, we've got mostly cloudy skies. 77 at the airport. Southerly winds at about 7 miles per hour. Feels like 78. 75 Kerrville, 78 in Hondo, 75 Beeville, 77 right now in Gonzales. And mostly upper 70s here around San Antonio at this hour. Dew points are also in the 70s. And that makes it feel that much more sticky outside when you got dew points in this range. Now, these numbers will come down some this afternoon, but there's still going to be enough humidity there for heat indices to probably go as high as 108 in some spots, especially within this area shaded in orange, and that includes San Antonio, but all of South Texas is going to be under the gun this weekend when it comes to this heat. We're talking 107, 108 as far as the heat index is concerned by the time we get into Saturday and Sunday. Air temperatures anywhere from 102 to 104. But the heat index is kind of the thing we're concerned about here. Even Monday, heat index is as high as 105. So we got to be extra careful outside. Any sort of rain is staying away from us because of our ridge of high pressure. Our heat high still sitting there. And the severe weather this morning is up across parts of far North Texas and Oklahoma and Arkansas. High pressure sits over us this weekend. That's why those temperatures go up some. By next week, it scoots east. That opens the door some to some deeper Gulf moisture. Will that translate to a few showers? Possible by the time we get into Wednesday. But I'd say rain chances at this point still less than 20%. Nothing to get too excited about. And these showers probably wouldn't yield much rain for us. KSAT 12-hour forecast, 81 degrees at 9 o'clock. We bring it up to 95 at 1 o'clock, mostly sunny. And 98 by 2 p.m., 102 by 5 o'clock. Just a light southerly breeze anywhere from 5 to 15 today, and it will be awful hot. Some record-setting heat potentially over the weekend, 104 Saturday, 104 Sunday, as we mentioned. Still in the triple digits Monday, but maybe a little cooler, quote-unquote cooler, by the middle part of next week.
All right, thank you, Justin. About 10 till 7, 76 degrees out at the airport.
Outside, let's take a look. Smooth.
Speaking of the airport.
Yeah. It looks nice out there, but remember your SPF, your water. Just be prepared. It's going to get hot. We'll be back.
San Antonio police say there were no problems inside a Northwest Side bar, but one man found the worst kind of trouble out here in the parking lot. Good morning, I'm Katrina Weber. Someone stabbed him to death. Now, that happened just after 2 o'clock this morning. Police say that man and a friend had left D.O.'s Sports Bar and Grill near Loop 1604 and Chase Hill Boulevard. According to the bar manager, it was a peaceful night inside the bar. She says a bouncer taking out the trash after 2 this morning noticed the victim on the ground in the parking lot. Then he and other workers tried to perform CPR. Still, that man died. The police say he was with a friend who also was attacked and knocked unconscious. The friend told investigators he woke up and noticed that the other man had been stabbed. Now, right now, detectives say they have no idea what led to this attack. Again, no trouble inside the bar. They do plan to look at surveillance video from that bar and other businesses here to try to find some clues. Reporting from the Northwest Side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Morning show flew by. It's now 5 till 7.
Yeah, Stephen, let's take a look outside with the roads.
Yeah, unfortunately, traffic's not flying by in some of these areas. You can see right now traffic is picking up as we are now in morning rush. But while we are seeing calm areas there in town, the big issue is going to be in the far east side of San Antonio, where we do have a closure due to overnight bridge work that's been delayed at least up until 8 a.m. according to TxDOT. You can see that area shut down. But quick detour here before we toss to Justin. You can take exit and take a right on the south Santa Clara Road. What you'll do then is take a left on a Lower Seguin Road. It may take a little longer to get to San Antonio, but Justin, it beats trying to sit in that traffic there off of I-10.
Yeah, that looks like a big slowdown there. 102 degrees, 102 degrees today. That'll be the high temperature. It'll feel a little bit warmer than that. Heat advisories have been posted for much of the area, and it only gets warmer this weekend. 104 both Saturday and Sunday. A little relief next week.
All right, be careful out there, folks.
Remember that H2O.
That's right.
Yes.
We'll see you back here at 9.